Hello, this is Maggie, and we are going to be listening to coincident partials today. I'm going to be starting most of these from F. And if you remember in a previous video, I talked about sympathetic vibration. We can activate the harmonics from this F by hitting their frequency up higher. So we know the next harmonic above F is this F. And it's ringing. There it is. Okay. Notice if I hit this, it doesn't quite have the same effect. It's ringing. Okay. So we're just going to hit the harmonics here. We can hear them ringing. I've already done this in a previous video, but this is a quick review of the series up to the 7th partial. Ooh, barely hear that one. They get quieter as you go up, of course. We've talked about that. So I mentioned a unison. Yes, we have coincident partials in unison. Sometimes they don't line up. Oh boy. This is out of tune. And I've detuned it so you can hear the beats that are going to occur in the partials, because we have two Fs here now in this key. Two different Fs that are out of tune. They're not in sync with each other. And so what is going to beat up here are their coincident partials. The coincident partials will beat. So listen to this whole sound. You're hearing all the coincident partials there. Now let's isolate this one. I'm going to hold this key down. La, 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 la. Do you hear it? You hear the beats? There's a slow one in there too. Do you hear the slow one? There's a slow one. All that's in here. We're probably, this has a partial series of its own, and the partials above this note can activate the partials above that note. So we are isolating this, but not only. We're just making this particular partial louder. So we're hearing more than one in there. Let's listen to this one. Hear how it's a different speed? We're listening to a different partial. Compare that to this one again. There's a slow one and a fast one in there that I hear. The camera always picks up more or less, so you never know. There's more than one in there also. Listen to that speed, see? Depends on what you hit. Ooh, that's faster. See, listen. Whoops. And then this one. Faster. I'm going to try this one. I don't know if we'll hear it. It's there. It's just very quiet, and it's beating on the fast side. So that's our unison, and you can activate these same things. There's a reason you might want to do this. We don't need to do it most of the time, but I just want to show it. You can activate these from below also, because every note below this also has partials, and the partials from the lower note can sometimes activate these. So I'm going to hit this, and I'm going to go down an F to a lower F. Hear the beats? Okay, so I'm activating the fundamental here, because the fundamental here is the first overtone, second partial of this, and I can hear these notes in it. Well, I brought them out louder, because when I did this, I activated those partials above this note. Both of these I activated at the same time. Now that they're already going, that just kind of gives them a kick, and you can hear them. So anyway, that is our unison. I'm going to put my mute back in here, and we are going to look at an octave. So we have the same partial series, harmonic series, starting from each of these notes, but one is starting an octave higher. Okay, so their first coincident partial is going to be here. See? Notice how loud that one is. That's kind of cool. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to detune this so you can hear the coincident partials beating. Because when they're beating, you know you're hearing both of them. So I've got a nice beat rate there. Listen to the beat rate. Get this in your head. Listen to the whole sound. Try to hear all the beats. Now let's isolate them out. I'm going to first coincident partials up here. Can you hear the beat rate? Compare that to the original. You can hear this pitch in there beating. Isn't that neat? Let's go to the next one. We're up here now. That's faster. Try to listen to for this beat rate in that whole sound. Here's the beat rate. It's pretty quick. See if you can hear that in here. It's in there. It's just very hard to hear. But it's there. There it is. I'm bringing it out. You can hear it. So let's see. This one is not muted. I'll have to stop it. But let's go ahead and use this one. That's booking. I'm going to hit it again, see if you can hear it. That's going really fast. That's also in this whole sound that we're listening to. Let's see what happens if I try to activate down lower. I'm going to hit this low F again. Can you hear the beats? It's the slow one. Can you hear the slow one in this octave? Now listen to the lower note. I'm activating this fundamental. Actually, I'm activating both the fundamentals of here by hitting that note. Because these are both overtones of this lower note. It doesn't work as well, but sometimes that tool can come in very handy. Something I meant to mention as I was going, but I can just come back to it. If I have an octave here, and I tune the first overtone, the second partial of this lower note, to the fundamental of this note, I have a 2-to-1 octave. That's what it's called. I'm not going to tell you how to do that yet, but that's what it's called. I'd like you to know that term. Now, if I go to the second coincident partial, if I tune this into a unison, this partial, then I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2. I have a 4-to-2 octave. If I make this partial unison. Notice how this partial and this partial are different speeds. You cannot, unless the piano is wonky, which sometimes happens, you cannot tune a 4-to-2 and a 6-to-3 octave both. You cannot tune both of these partial unisons as a unison. You can only tune one of them, or you can put it in between them. If I were to tune this one, I'd have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 1, 2, 3. I'd have a 6-3 octave if I tuned a unison here. That's what that is called. I'm not going to tell you how to do it yet. Just know that's what it's called. It's a 6-3 octave if you make this a unison. And you can keep going up with the partials if you wanted to. If I were to actually tune 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, if I were to tune the 8th partial of the lower note to the 1, 2, 3, 4th partial of the upper note, I would have an 8-4 octave. And that would be another type of octave altogether. You cannot tune all these partials in unison. You have to choose a place within them. Same as with the octave, unison. With a unison, you should be able to tune all the partials in a unison. But with some pianos, especially with wound strings, that's not always possible, and you have to make a choice with your unison. So in this case, I'm going to listen to my unisons here. I'm comparing beat rates. That's a little faster. Okay, so I might hear a little bit of beating here if I tune these in a unison. If I make these other partials a unison, that's beating. I could get a pretty decent sound in unison here, though, I think. So sometimes a clean unison isn't possible depending on the piano, depending on the strings, and sometimes it's not desired, but that's another video again. So I hope this has helped you understand what you're listening for when you're listening for partials. I'll be covering a fifth and fourth in my next video, and then I'll move on to fast beating intervals. If you have any questions or suggestions, shoot me an email at maggie@thebutlerschool.org or comment below, and please subscribe. Thank you.